25% of Bad Boy. When they started Bad Boy, he puts 25 under his name, 75 under his mother.
God forbid, get in front of a jury and have a chance. And so I'm having this emergency call because something has to give.
I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shoe to drop.
If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal, so you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can just be reassigned to another case. People keep pretending like all of this stuff that they hear about Diddy is something that's new. He's been doing these things.
You've been hearing the whispers for years, even when nobody on TV would dare say it out loud. The word was that Diddy wasn't just some wild party king. He was someone people spoke about in hushed tones, a mistreater who kept receipts because he believed he was untouchable. Industry insiders allegedly knew about the freak-offs, the bat-waving intimidation, the threats, and how artists or staff seemed to vanish the moment they stopped playing along. And somewhere in all that, there were rumors of tapes powerful enough to shatter the whole image. Now, those tapes are here. His own cameras, catching him spiraling over lawsuits, arguing with his lawyer about media strategy, and speaking like the real war isn't about truth, but about controlling the jury's mind. Then 50 Cent steps forward and says, "If I stay quiet, y'all will think we're all okay with this," and drops a 4-part Netflix doc that lines up almost too cleanly with what the streets have been saying for decades. Jaguar Wright looks at all of it and doesn't blink. She says what many already suspected. This isn't a misunderstanding, it's a pattern. So as you watch Diddy's carefully curated empire crack on camera, ask yourself, were these just rumors gone too far? Or were they warnings everyone chose to ignore until the proof finally caught up?
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations, I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else, but I did feel uncomfortable with the way you represent the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah, and then that swayed me away from it, just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. So I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally is that those accusations.
Think about how fans used to talk about Diddy's parties. For years, they were treated like a rite of passage. If you made it to the Hamptons White Party, you'd officially arrived. People bragged about rubbing shoulders with him like it was visiting Graceland or Times Square. Loud, packed, a little wild, but supposedly all fun. Then 50 Cent comes out and says, "Nah, I wasn't going. I'm not into that freaky stuff." Suddenly, those Instagram perfect nights start looking less glamorous and more like those sketchy after-hours spots everyone warns you about but still lines up for. The Netflix doc fills in the details fans joked about but never really wanted confirmed. A male escort explains how he was flown in around March 9th, Biggie's death date, year after year, for freak-offs that lasted days. He describes hotel suites turned into S-Labs, lights low, music blasting, trays of pills everywhere, and Diddy directing everything while cameras rolled for his private collection. And remember, when the feds raided Diddy's homes, they didn't just find luxury, they found industrial levels of baby oil and lube, the kind of stash that turns old jokes into something that feels a lot closer to evidence.
It was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
I'll accept it. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh. It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
Went away.
Got in
his car and said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. That was, it showed you his character.
was that the reason for including it?
Yeah, I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where you forgot.
Then there are faces you recognize from TV, who now sound like they're testifying against a cult leader. Aubrey O'Day, the same girl from Making the Band you watched grind through rehearsals and studio sessions, sits on camera reading an affidavit. A witness claims they walked in on Diddy and another man performing sad acts on her while she lay heavily intoxicated and motionless. So when 50 talks about Diddy having a god complex, smiling for cameras while treating everyone around him like disposable extras, it lands differently. Those legendary parties people once flexed about start looking like Hollywood horror stories wrapped in designer suits. Coercion disguised as access. Trauma edited into highlight reels. Mistreatment hidden inside footage he thought made him untouchable. And that's exactly what Jaguar Wright has been saying all along.
Of him filming this whole thing was because I'm sure that he planned on doing his own documentary. This is an extreme narcissist you're talking about. Extreme. He's sitting there with feds, an eye shot away from his hotel suite, filming his hotel room, and he's looking at them and he's filming it right back. He's literally saying in certain parts, yeah, make sure you're filming all of this because we need to get some, some cutaway shots.
That's wild.
No, he was literally, did nobody pay attention to that?
Oh, I saw it.
Like he said, yeah, make sure you're filming all of this. We need this for cutaways. Like you're sitting here collecting footage, like a director, like an AD.
What does that say to the cameraman that, can anybody be bought, or he said, the cameraman said he recorded all this for Diddy, and then of course Diddy got locked up, so.
Yeah, Diddy got locked up and he didn't get paid. A lot of people seem to have that experience.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Dealing with Combs Enterprise, they come in and they work and they don't get.
Jack breaks it down clearly. Diddy didn't get caught on someone else's hidden camera.
He hired a videographer to follow him during the investigation because he believed he'd beat the case and later release his own documentary, a victory lap about surviving it all. The living proof she talks about isn't random B-roll. It's hours of strategy calls, hotel nights, mood swings, all filmed so he could eventually edit himself into the hero. When that plan collapsed, the videographer allegedly didn't get paid. The relationship blew up, and the same footage Diddy wanted full control over was quietly shopped until 50 Cent and Netflix bought it.
We need to be able to be speaking to the potential jurors. He said, you might only be the guy that watches CNN, but there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them are on Instagram or TikTok. We need to have control of that. He said we need to know how these potential jurors are thinking. That's what he said.
Right.
So what does that mean? He hadn't even been arrested yet. He hadn't even been taken into custody yet. Damian Williams hadn't come forward yet with a list of the charges that they were charging him with and what they were taking him to trial for. That didn't happen until December.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, they were losing? Losing what? Losing at what? We need to have control of comms. We need to make sure that we know how the potential jurors are thinking.
Very true.
How does that not sound like anything other than what it is? They were looking to infect the jury pool as early as possible. Look at what happened. Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can.
In those hotel room clips, he's not asking his lawyer how to tell the truth. He's pushing for someone who knows the dirtiest side of media and propaganda to get ahead of the story before an indictment drops. Basically, he's worried about the jury pool, not the evidence. He demands that someone start talking early, spinning narratives, shaping opinions. Legal analysts say the same thing. He treated a federal case like a PR rollout, trying to soften potential jurors through TV and social media before they ever stepped into court.
Look at what happened. Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can just be reassigned to another case.
When Jag says justice wasn't really served, she's pointing to the gap between what those tapes show and what the system delivered. He's convicted on industry-related counts, but beats the RICO and exploitation charges, even with hours of footage showing him panicking about lawsuits, plotting narrative control, and never centering the people accusing him. In her view, that's how wealthy criminals operate. Film everything, hire teams to clean the story, and even when sentencing comes, victims are left feeling like the full truth never had a courtroom.
25% of Bad Boy. When they started Bad Boy, he puts 25 under his name, 75 under his mother's name. Diddy does. So 75% of the company's under his mother's name, 25% is under his name. One day he comes up to him, fully ready to take this guy out, says, you have to sign off the 25% to me. He says, I'm not going to do it. He says, you have to do it. He forces him to sign up and gives away the 25% over to Diddy, okay? Gives away the 25% to Diddy. That's his.
Threatening his life?
He threatens his life, allegedly, to give up the 25%, which he ends up giving up to Diddy. And he says, I'm going to give it back to you. Never gives it back to him. And then later on, when he takes him to court to say, this is my 25%, the court says, no, you have mental issues. You're having challenges here. This is out of control. Boom. Diddy ends up keeping the 25%. Nothing ever happens. He never gets the 25% back. This is the guy that was doing all the deals.
If you want to know how a man really moves, don't just listen to ex-girlfriends. Listen to the business partner who helped build the empire and walked away with nothing. Kirk Burroughs isn't a random internet voice. He was there when Bad Boy was born, with paperwork showing he owned a real piece of the company. He explains how Diddy kept control on paper, how shares were structured, how he owned the deals, and how one day that 25% stake Kirk believed he had was suddenly gone. People keep circling back to the same story. Kirk says he was threatened with a bat, pressured to sign, and then quietly erased. While Diddy became the face of shiny suit success, the rumor that won't die is that the company's structure was designed to shield his name from lawsuits, especially after the tragic 1991 charity game Stampede, where families went after whoever really controlled the money. Whether every detail can be proven or not, the pattern feels familiar. Someone helps him win, then gets rewritten out of the story once they become inconvenient.
Dropped the bomb that he had been essayed by Diddy. It's Kirk Burroughs.
Yeah.
Who has been here since the beginning.
Yeah, he's the founder.
He said people keep pretending like all of the stuff that they hear about Diddy is something that's new. He's been doing these things. He's a witness to offenses that happened over 30 years ago.
Then Kirk goes further, saying what many in the industry allegedly whispered but never said on camera, that Diddy crossed physical and intimate boundaries with him too. He talks about feeling shaken, about how people around them weren't shocked, just silent, and how everyone suddenly acted brand new when the lawsuits hit. On paper, it's an allegation, but stacked next to employees saying they saw him hurting Cassie, artists saying they were punished for refusing him, and Jag calling him a serial mistreater, it stops sounding isolated. It feels like another piece of the same puzzle, proof that with Diddy, violence isn't just private, it's built into how he uses people, their bodies, and their futures like property.
He was victimized, and I think it happened long before the industry. People really don't want to look closer into his childhood and to what his mama had going on in that house. God knows what he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up involved, looking around, seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like her house was a house of professional freak-offs. So who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life.
Oh yeah. He was. I'm gonna say he was surprised to hear that.
School bus driver. No, was he surprised or was he like, zip it, you talking too much? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting up there, because I was a bus driver and I was this, and I worked at the after hours. And I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips.
She didn't say it just like that. Big tips. You know, in
Big tip and spending cheese.
damn. In Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was like a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say, that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler, or that's what you heard that he was.
Well, I mean, like Tim said, they had a bunch of blaxploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like, I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got two women in the house and there's no men around, and these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over, PIMPs coming over, women who look like they were modeling for Jet magazine coming over. Like, it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was.
Jag doesn't excuse him, but she adds context. She talks about a boy watching his mother come home from nightlife, from the streets, from whatever she had to do to survive. That kind of upbringing, she says, can twist a child's idea of love, power, and respect. In her view, he learned early that survival meant control of money, rooms, perception, and eventually people themselves. That's why when he got rich, success wasn't enough. He wanted ownership of everyone in the frame. It lines up uncomfortably well with what others describe. Jack's point is simple, but chilling. The mogul the world celebrated may have carried a childhood wound, but instead of healing it, he weaponized it, breaking people emotionally, financially, physically, then labeling it business, love, or loyalty whenever it suited him.
He was trying to shape Misa into his mother. Can you see that? Like,
Yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean,
really?
He asked a question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn! I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video when he was talking about how his mom is still young and spry and how she still liked to party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video, and he was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms. It's a very, very, very weird relationship. It's weird.
You know, it kind of goes into, I mean, he seems to be having, and again, I know the freak offs, that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship?
As strange as it sounds, Diddy wasn't just dating women. He was trying to remake them. Jag says he had a twisted fixation on his mother and kept molding women into her image. How they dressed, how they spoke to him, how fast they forgave him. Put that next to stories of him demanding total access, controlling hair, looks, and social circles, and it stops sounding like standards. It starts sounding like obsession, forcing every relationship into one warped template.
As CEO Ted Sarandos knows, he's been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story in his own way. It is fundamentally unfair and illegal. That's the thing I'm more interested about. For Netflix to misappropriate that work. Netflix is plainly desperate to sensationalize every minute of Mr. Combs' life without regard for truth, in order to capitalize on a never-ending media frenzy. If Netflix cared about truth or Mr. Combs' legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. No rights in that material were ever transferred to Netflix or any third party, the statement continues. It is equally staggering that Netflix handed creative control to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a longtime adversary with a personal vendetta who has spent too much time slandering Mr. Combs. Beyond the legal issues, this is a personal breach of trust. Mr. Combs had long respected Ted Sarandos and admired his legacy. Uh-oh, Netflix, you're getting called out by Diddy. What are you gonna do? He has admired the legacy of Sarandos' late father-in-law, Clarence Avant. For Netflix to give his life story to someone who has publicly attacked him for decades feels like an unnecessary and deeply personal affront. At minimum, he expected fairness from people.
Diddy's official response is that this is all a shameful hit piece. In the clip, he leans on the same talking points his team fed the press. Netflix used stolen footage, lawyer conversations were taken out of context, and handing his life story to 50 Cent, a longtime rival, is unfair and illegal. He casts himself as the victim, saying he's been filming his life since 19 to someday tell his own story, and now others are profiting off what was meant to be his legacy.
If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that.
If I didn't say anything, you'd assume hip-hop is fine with this behavior. That's how 50 puts it. In GMA and other interviews, he says no one else was being vocal. Staying silent would signal that the culture co-signs what's on those tapes and in those lawsuits. That's why he doesn't just post memes. He puts his name on a 4-part series with jurors, former employees, alleged victims, and Diddy's own recordings, and lets them speak. Netflix backs it up, saying the footage was legally obtained and the project isn't revenge, it's documentation. They say they invited Diddy and his lawyers to participate and were turned down. Step back and look at it all together. The tapes Diddy commissioned himself, the freak-off stories now tied to names and dates, the partners who say he broke them, the jurors admitting the charges didn't match the behavior. This isn't just a messy celebrity downfall, it's a man losing control of the edit. When his own footage, former friends, and court records start telling the same ugly story, how long can you blame context before admitting this might be who he really is? And now that those tapes exist forever, not just in his vault, but in the culture, what do you think will be harder to erase? The sentence or the image the world has finally seen?